in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Geek Pants Camcast.
Oh, that's good. You've been practicing.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. So this is Blade 2, the second part of our trilogy.
Yes, Blade 2, which
Episode
has Guillermo
98.
del Toro directing. Yes.
Well, this one was, first of all, it was released in 2002. Got to get that right.
Yep, the summer of Spider-Man.
Yep, which kind of a double-edged sword, I would say. It's one of those where, like, part of me says maybe don't release it with Spider-Man, but the other part is you might as well release it with Spider-Man because more people are going to watch it, right?
Yeah, I think this came out, August? So it came out like 3 months, I think, after Spidey did.
Yeah. So
and I mean, it made more bank than the first, so it was the right move in the long run.
And the funny part is they didn't really increase the budget too much. We went from 45 million to 54, so not even 10 million more in budget.
Yeah.
And then it made 155 million.
Right.
This is the big winner out of the entire trilogy.
This is it.
Yep. And money well spent, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we talked about the
so
CGI in the first movie and how in some scenes, you know, it's good. It's all right.
Yeah.
But luckily, it's done so sparingly, except for the last act. But in that case, it's kind of like, well, okay, you can only do so much. But now we're right in the middle of them really getting their feet on it. So when we do see the CGI, A, it's really well done. And B, what I really like is that they did something similar, which you don't see a lot these days, is they almost did a Raimi thing where it was a CGI shot, practical effects shot, CGI, practical effects. So there was that constant back and forth. And I noticed, actually, because I'm on a Spider-Man kick right now, so I rewatched Homecoming. Mm-hmm. Homecoming actually does a really good job of balancing the two. Far From Home, not so much, or maybe it's harder to tell. It's harder to tell, maybe, but definitely in Homecoming they do it. But I forgot that I actually don't think I noticed it, and maybe it's because I haven't watched it since we started doing the Camcast. But this time around, I was like, oh, man, it's actually really cool that you see CGI and then live action. So it's really, I like that. Yeah. Before we get too far, this is, you said Guillermo del Toro. He's the director this time around.
Yeah.
This movie is also, again, written by David, Superman fan Goyer.
Yeah. That's what the S stands for, right? Is Superman?
What else could it be?
David Superman Goyer.
Yeah. You know, Blade again, Wesley Snipes, Whistler again, Chris Christopherson. But this is where the cast gets a little juicy. This is where we start to get Ron Perlman, who plays Dieter Reinhardt.
Yeah, I love the name. Love it.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I can't get over that name. We also get Lenore Varela, who is Nisa Damaskinos.
Still gorgeous.
Yeah, wow. Like,
I had such a crush on her when this movie came out.
I actually forgot how much of a crush I had on her.
Yeah.
Because
so I was watching this again. I was just like, oh, man, she's beautiful.
Have you seen her recently?
I haven't.
She's 47. Looks amazing.
Why wouldn't she? I mean, 47 is still young.
Yeah, but some people age differently. Like, I don't know if I'll look as good as I do now at 47.
You'll probably look better.
Well, you never know. This thing might be like...
You'll just have to grow a big fucking beard and do the Triple H thing.
Yeah. Oh, my God, Triple H.
Coming up in Trinity.
Then we get a gentleman by the name of Norman Reedus.
Reedus. Some nobody guy. Some nobody.
His name is Scud.
It's good.
Or Skid, I think he was called a couple of times in the movie.
Yeah, Whistler called him Skid.
We got Thomas Kretschmann, who is Eli Damaskinos. He is the father.
Yes.
And then finally, this is the only other one I'm naming, even though, yes, Donnie Yen's in this movie, but Luke Gross as Jared Nomak, or Patient Zero.
Yeah, it's a solid cast. I wrote them all down. The whole crew.
It's a huge cast. Well, then maybe you could say the ones that I didn't say.
So you got Danny John Jules as Assad. He was the guy that was with Nisa originally during the whole Blade introduction. You got Matt.
Oh, sorry, that guy. I forgot to mention. I should have mentioned him. That guy. The first time I ever seen him was in a BBC show called Red Dwarf. You ever heard of that show?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
I love it. He played the character Cat.
Cat.
Yeah. The premise is you watched Idiocracy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So essentially the same concept. Idiot is trapped on a ship in stasis for like 3,000 years. He comes out of stasis. He's like the only human left. His cat evolved into the character Cat. So it's a black dude with braids and fangs because he's a cat. There's a hologram who's a prick and an android who is like just a really nice guy, but he's like it's hilarious. But it's BBC, so it's like certain type of humor, right?
Yeah,
but anyway, so I should have mentioned him and I didn't. Sorry. Continue.
Matt Schultz as Chupa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Donnie Yen as Snowman.
Yep.
I totally forgot Donnie Yen was in this, and when I saw him, I was like, fucking right. And then I was so disappointed he died off screen. I was disappointed by that.
Exactly. But to be fair, like when this movie came out, I was not familiar with Donnie Yen.
No one really knew who Donnie Yen was. No.
Whereas now, I'm like, oh yeah, Donnie Yen, because he's like one of my favorite martial art actors now. Like, he's for sure. So good. But yeah, and I agree. An off-screen death for Donnie Yen.
Yeah, that was a bummer. And that off-screen death came from Daz Crawford as Lighthammer. He's got his lady friend Marit Valkiel as Verlaine.
Although Lighthammer looked awesome.
Lighthammer did look awesome. And then Tony Curran as Priest. Tony Curran, as an Underworld fan, I love because he played Marcus in Evolution. Such a great villain.
And actually, I did not know this until this, doing my research for this Camcast, because I like to be a student now. I didn't realize that they were actually moving towards a crossover with Underworld. They were,
absolutely.
Yeah, they were totally going to do it until Marvel, or they lost the rights and Marvel took them back.
Yep.
Which blew me away. I was like, I can't. And then I was thinking, like, how awesome would that have been if you had Blade, and I can't remember what her name was in the Underworld, but Celine, yes. So those two fighting vampires and werewolves, like, Jesus Christ, sign me up.
That would be so good. So good.
And then, of course, they would have had to have a crazy epic sex scene just because. Why not, right?
Why not?
Why not?
You got to. So that's the cast. Great cast. Luke Goss as Nomak, though. He blew me away in this. No idea who he was. So good. So good.
Absolutely awesome in this movie.
Yeah. Amazing. But, like, here's the thing again. Like, David S. Goyer, he wrote the first. Buddy. He wrote the first for Wesley Snipes.
Yep.
I feel like this one, he kind of knew that Del Toro was coming on board, and he wrote it for Del Toro's strengths, because that guy, want something, you want a movie to have creepy friggin' creatures, get Del Toro.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%.
The Reapers are horrifying in this.
Oh, my God, are they ever? They're just horrifying.
Yeah.
But I feel like they should be, because, like, vampires are typically, like, pretty. Like, they're good looking. Yeah. You know, I think there's only been 2 movies where vampires were intentionally gross, and that was 30 Days of Night.
Yeah.
And Vampires. Where they were both intentionally made to not be pretty.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah. Especially in 30 Days of Night. I'm not the hugest fan of that movie. I have to rewatch it, though. But I remember I was like, but they looked so good. And, like literally based off the book, so they look so good.
That's a comic book. That's a Camcast in the future, 100%.
Yeah, it is, because like I feel like is one of the rare Camcasts where I feel like we should do the book and the movie in one.
I'd be down with that. I got the whole series on trade paperback. I'm down.
Oh, because like the book 30 Days a Night, I was like, this is awesome.
Oh, the book's amazing.
I was like, for the most part, the movie's great. There's just some things that I was like, but like I said, I got to rewatch it.
The book is amazing, and I do think I recall that 30 Days a Night, the book, was the first indie comic hit of the 2000s.
Yes.
Because when you think indie comic hits, you think, Hellboy, Turtles, all those kind of characters. 30 Days of Night, what it did for horror in comic books, mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
Absolutely. And like that team, the writer and the art, like now I couldn't tell you who wrote it and drew it.
Well, Steve Niles wrote it, and Steve Niles wrote it as a screenplay and tried to sell it for 10 years. And when no one was buying it as a movie, he went, well, I'm going to make this a comic book then.
Yeah, that's right.
Ben Temple-Smith and Ben Temple-Smith drew this.
Temple-Smith, that's right. That's right. Oh, my God.
Beautiful.
Man. But anyway, okay, so getting back to this. So we get ugly, disgusting Reapers, but so, okay, first of all, yes, it's Guillermo del Toro, but I don't feel like this movie is too much of a leap from the first one.
No, it's not.
Because,
and it's basically because Goyer still wrote it, right?
Even just visually, though. Visually, and also because Guillermo del Toro wasn't Guillermo del Toro. He was like, they were huge fans of him, and they knew what they were kind of getting into when they hired him. But this wasn't like Hellboy 1 and then Hellboy 2.
No, because I mean, like Del Toro, I think when Blade 2 came out, all he had under his belt was like
Kronos
and Mimic.
Yeah, those are the two. Kronos and Mimic are the only two.
And I'm pretty sure that was it. Yeah.
That is it.
That is it. Yeah, because Devil's Backbone came out a year after this, and then Hellboy. So
yeah. But how interesting is it that you actually have a similar setup where Hellboy, the first movie, is almost from the pages, right? And then the second movie, off the rails. Whereas Blade, same thing. You have first movie, updated, but very much from the pages, right?
Yep.
Second movie, boom. Like I said in the first one, this is a grounded take, very much in the same vein as The Crow. This movie, Blade 2, is a superhero movie. 100% a superhero movie. You've got your CGI fight scenes, which are awesome.
They've awesome. They've surprisingly aged quite well. Like when he's fighting Nisa and Assad in front of that like light screen.
That blue screen?
Clear as day CG. Clear as day.
Clear as day, but still looks really good.
Yeah.
And it's actually only really noticeable, I found, when you see shots of Blade.
Yeah.
Because it's harder to fake a human than it is a fully costumed up thing, right?
Right.
But man, like, this is so great. I actually I read that Guillermo del Toro's mindset for this movie was literally to do like a superhero anime movie. And when I read that, I was like, okay, because you can totally see it.
Yeah.
100%.
Totally.
And what I like too is they took the template from the first one, expanded it, but didn't get so crazy where you're just like, what is happening? Like the movie starts with a very grounded look at Blade in Russia looking for Whistler. And that's awesome because in Blade 1, the end scene is him in Russia.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is so cool that he picked up right where he left off. You find out it's been about a year.
And that is actually that whole opening is so good, where he's like taking the guys out with his bike and he almost hits his car and he kisses at it.
I know. Again, like I said in our Blade 1 Camcast, which you can see on YouTube, we, like I had said, these little things that Snipe does is what actually humanizes Blade, not the fact that they keep saying like he's a half-blood, he's half human, half, it's like, okay, that's great, but those little things where he kisses that, it's just like, okay, all right.
He lets that guy go. That character's name was Rush. That little troll vampire dude. Oh. He lets him go, and he goes, "What do you say? I'll be seeing you." Is that what he said?
Yeah.
I'll be seeing you.
Yeah. No.
And then the end of the movie is, oh yeah.
But I also like I like the way so they find Whistler, immediately find Whistler. We get introduced to Scud, which I still don't like the character. It was one of those where when he's introduced, I was like, that guy's a fucking douchebag. He's not helping, or he's gonna stab Blade in the back. I knew right away. It was they had a giant sign that said, "This guy is gonna fuck you up."
Yeah.
Granted, at the end, Blade's just like, I knew the whole fucking time. Yeah. So you're like, okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair. But I did like the reveal of his tattoo was underneath, right?
Under his lip, yeah.
I thought that was cool because, again, like I said in Blade 1, I loved that they did the tattoos in various places so that other vampires would be able to go, well, hold on. He's branded. So that was cool. That was cool. Is it weird that Norman Reedus look the same, period?
Right.
I think the only time he's actually
older, he looks a little older, but he still looks like a trailer.
The only time he didn't look like this was in Boondock Saints, strangely enough.
Yeah, but I think the sequel he still had this scuddy look.
The Scuddy look, yeah. Well, of course he would have had the Scuddy look because this was made so far after that. Yeah. This is his brand now, I guess.
Norman Reedus. When you think about it, Norman Reedus is Norman Reedus and everything he does.
I was just gonna say, even in Death Stranding, I was like, you couldn't look like anyone else.
Storm Reedus.
You couldn't shave your mustache. No, you had to look like Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Hey, look, good for him. I'm not hating on him as an actor.
No, good.
He always seemed like a cool dude.
He
seemed like a cool dude in real life.
I met him in Toronto. Super, super cool dude.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
He's not like Nathan Fillion.
You remember my classic Nathan Fillion story.
I was just gonna say he's not like Nathan Fillion.
Yeah. Well, I met Norman and Ron Perlman in the same weekend too. Both those guys are awesome. Both of those guys are so cool.
Ron Perlman is so cool that he's in a Twitter battle with Ted fucking Cruz, who's a Republican senator, who's basically like, yeah, kick your ass. And Ron Perlman is like, fine, let's do it. Let's fight. Wherever the hell you want to. And he's 70 years old. And he's like, no, let's fucking fight. I'll kick the shit out of every one of you. So yeah, you know what? I don't have to meet Ron Perlman to know he's a cool dude.
Yeah, no, he's a cool dude. But Norman Reedus, I wasn't so sure about how Norman would be because,
you never know.
You never know, right?
You never know. I say that it's possible that Ron Perlman, you just caught him on a good day, and normally he's a douche. He's not. There's no way.
It's possible, but no,
you never know.
Because
your Nathan Fillion story is interesting because I would have never saw that coming.
Mind blowing, and it's crazy.
I would never have saw that coming.
It's crazy because I just saw him on a panel. He was talking to the crowd for an hour. He was doing his whole act thing, right? And then when I meet him person to person, so you're in this big lineup, and then you go behind a curtain, and he's in there, and they're like, you got 5 seconds, walk up, say hi, take a picture, be on your way, and that's basically it, right? And Nathan was there for the money, and that was it. He didn't really want to meet people. You could tell. Whereas Norman Reedus, I walked in, he's like, hey man, how you doing? And he high-fived me, and he put his arm around me. He's like, you enjoying the show? What's going on? And I was in there a lot longer than 5 seconds.
That's the difference. It would have been like when I met Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
And he would have been like, instead of me being like, I'm a big fan. I wish I was a cool dude when I met Chris Jericho, but I'm still glad I met him. I'm still super glad I met him and everything. That was awesome. Oh, wait, are we talking about Blade 2?
I don't know where that tangent came from, but it was enjoyable. Let's go.
You know what it was? It was talking about just being celebrity and stuff like that and all that other fun stuff. But okay, so getting back to this, so we mentioned how the Reapers were scary.
Yep.
And I'm actually glad that they were scary. Like, they're meant to be scary. So they're still retaining some of that horror aspects in this movie that they had in the first movie. And I don't want to suggest that either movie is scary, but there are horror elements to it. And I'm glad that they retain that. The Reaper designs looked amazing, but I liked the split mouth thing on how they bit. I thought that was really cool.
Yep.
And the other part I thought was really cool was that, like, the extra added chest protection. So you couldn't stab them in the heart. You had to get them from the sides. I was like, whoa, like, they really thought about how to make super vampires like hard for even Blade to kill. Because, like, for Blade, he can walk through 100 vampires, and within minutes, it's just ash piles everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you might see, like, 1 or 2 humans that are just like, what the fuck just happened here? Whereas now he's got to actually team up with, the vampires actually get him to help them kill these things.
I didn't write down. What was their name again? The team of vampire killers.
Oh, Blood Pack.
Blood Pack. That's what.
Yeah,
I can't want to say Death Dealers. So I'm like, no, that's Underworld. What are they in fucking Blade?
Yeah, they were the Blood Pack.
And it's awesome too that they were trained to hunt Blade, and now they have to team.
That's one of my favorite things. Is like they're literally the task force to take him down.
Yeah,
and that's what I like too. Is because then you do have a little bit of begrudging respect, especially between Dieter and Blade, where they're kind of like trying to one up each other. But this is another aspect where I feel like Wesley Snipes' own brand of cockiness bleeds through this character. So that scene where he's like doing the tricks and smacking him around and stuff, I was like, that's totally Wesley Snipes.
Oh,
like,
totally
100%.
Fuck in the middle of the head.
But then when he puts the fucking bomb in his head, I was like, oh, that's genius.
Yep.
Well, I mentioned the Reaper's design.
Yeah.
But even just the introduction of Nomax is awesome. Or Nomak.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
His
this disgusting, gross, weird hospital.
Yeah.
And then you find out that it's like a weird German test site. Could you imagine being in that situation and all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, we're going to test this bum. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? A new vampire?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Chris Christopherson, he's back. He's clashing with Scud immediately because Scud's like doing his thing.
Well, hold on. You glitched out a bit. So I missed everything before Scud.
Okay, so like Chris Christopherson, he's back, right? And was as Whistler. We get that little flashback to show how he actually lived in the first movie.
Right, but how exactly does he become human again? He goes cold turkey.
Cold turkey. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he just locks him in a room. But I do like this, like, Blade grabs him and Scud's like, fuck this, like, you gotta kill him, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, this is my fucking dad, right? So he puts him in this room and he goes, you have until morning.
Yeah.
That's it. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Right? Now, this is where if they had the vampire cure from the first movie, you know, like if he had the cure, put it on like a chair or something and said, here's the cure.
Yeah.
You have a choice. You can take the cure, and maybe it's the last one. Maybe we'll say for whatever reason, she died. She couldn't mass produce it, whatever. We don't know her budget on how to make this stuff, right?
Right.
That's the last one. This is for you. In the morning, you either take this or you don't, and you're dead.
Yeah.
But that's whatever. That's fine. So he goes cold turkey, which is pretty badass. I'll say this. And I guess if anyone's going to go cold turkey, it's Whistler. I mean, for fuck's sakes, in the first movie, he was smoking while spilling gasoline when he's filling up Blade's car. So, yeah, I guess he would go cold turkey. But you see what I mean about the vampire cure, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
but
so
yeah, okay. So you were saying
he's clashing with Scud like right off the bat, right?
Oh yeah,
And it's cool because like neither one trust each other.
Right. And I like that because, like I said, like at the beginning, unless you're stupid, you go, okay, Scud's gonna fuck him over.
There's something up with that guy. Yeah.
There's something up with Scud, you know. But I like that while in some cases Scud has streamlined the operation.
Yep.
But in other cases, and maybe it's because he was ultimately working against Blade, but ultimately, like, the way that Whistler was doing it is actually the better way. Like, in some cases, like, even he goes like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense, that makes sense. But overall, it's still just like, fuck this little bitch, you know?
Yeah.
But that was really cool. But I feel like they had to have that antagonistic relationship because you have to almost tease, like, who's Blade really gonna be with, right? Like, is he gonna pick Scud over Whistler? And I know it sounds silly to say that, but there's that, they kind of hint at that a little bit there because he's almost trying to, like, guys, like, work together type of thing.
Yeah.
Right. So Blood Pack's introduced.
Yep.
Well, actually, first it's Nisa and sorry, what's his name?
His name is Assad.
Right, and then they bring him to meet Eli Damaskinos. Now, this was something that I just thought of, like, when I rewatched it for this Camcast. I don't know how I didn't make the connection that Eli is the father of Jared Nomak because they look exactly the same.
Yeah, identical.
Like, when they did the reveal, I was like, oh, wow. This time around, I was like, how the fuck? Because he literally looks exactly like his dad, except he's just got that split thing for his Reaver mouth.
Yeah.
Or Reaper mouth, sorry. And I was like, that's so high. Of all the things, like, I call so many things in the movie, but this one I was like, that's his dad?
What a shocker!
Oh, he's got that weird reptilian translucent skin just like his son. Like, I don't know how I fucking missed that. I was actually like, okay, all right. But I guess they throw you off because, you know, Nisa looks nothing like her dad, which is good because
yeah. Whew, thank God for that. She must have got her mother.
I want to see her mom.
Yeah, where's mommy?
Might as well just continue being a dirtbag this entire Camcast.
Why not?
Hashtag we suck. But right, so then we get the whole thing about, you know, these Reapers, and Blade's got to team up with the Blood Pack. And like we said, the whole introduction to the Blood Pack is awesome. The initial fight scenes with the Reavers are crazy cool. Like, I like how they're all vampires or humans that have become this, but they don't, like, now they're like animalistic. They're crawling on the ground.
Yeah.
Like that stubby midget one. Like, it's just this weird, like,
the one that wears the sunglasses.
yeah. Oh, okay. Like, the sun is literally the only thing that can absolutely kill them, but sure, you got sunglasses. All right.
Yep. Yeah, no, they're gross. They're gross, and that whole sequence in the bar. That's like in different rooms, and each member of the Blood Pack's like taking on another friggin' Reaper, and it's just they're gross.
Oh yeah. Oh man, it's horrible. But then, but we do get into the sewer. The sewer scene is fucking awesome.
So good.
So good. And then of course we get to the part where Blood Pack turns on Blade. Surprise! Yeah. Oh,
shocking.
Oh, so shocking. But the one thing that I love about it, though, actually not the one thing, but this is one of those where, like, everything happens for a reason. So then when we get to the part where they turn on Blade, like, we knew they were going to turn on Blade.
Oh, obviously.
There was no way they weren't going to turn on Blade, okay? Yeah. Especially because Blade was trying to figure out how to kill them. Like, that, they were both going to turn on each other. It was just a matter of who could do it first, right? So then when we get, like, the Reedus turn and all that, we get one of the coolest parts ever. Totally, like, exhausted, drained Blade gets dumped by Whistler into the blood pool.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. so great. One of the things I love is when you get that final drop of blood and he just comes up. Yeah. He's like, "Wah!" And it's fucking on. It is absolutely on. Oh, before I forget, there was something that I forgot to mention in Blade 1. You know why? Because I didn't write it down. I noticed this now when I watched this again, and I loved it. I thought it was really cool. They purposely filmed this like a coin flip scene where you've got them draining, Blade's blood.
Yep.
And the drops are about to come down onto on Deacon Frost.
Yeah.
The cool part is when they got that last bit of blood coming out of Blade, as it falls, they actually show it almost like it's falling directly onto him. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
I thought that was really, really cool.
That was cool.
Anyway, so back to the bloodbath, which was cool. First, we also got a superhero landing.
Yeah, you pulled it off first.
But so then, of course, you get the bloodbath. They get like these awesome fight scenes with the blood pack. He kills Reedus right away.
Oh yeah, right away.
He's like, I knew you're bombed. I forgot to mention. Sorry, go on.
After he gets out of the blood, Whistler throws him the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Hey, kid. Like perfect catch.
It's not as cheesy as when he does it in the first movie, though, because he kills the one guy. He kills Quinn with the razor wire and then catches Quinn's sunglasses.
Yeah.
Well, because they were his in the first place, because Quinn took his sunglasses. So he catches them back. And I was like, oh. So, yeah. I mean, you have to have it, right?
You got it. At this point, you have to, yeah.
That's right. It's like Wolverine popping his claws. You have to have him catching sunglasses, throwing them on.
Right.
Right. I forgot to mention, though, the first fight with Nomak when they're in the church.
Yeah.
Like, the introduction for Nomak was awesome, but then the actual fight scene is crazy cool because you have that really awesome part where, like, you've got CGI or not live action and they're going at it, and then Nomak fucks off and climbs up the wall to do like these like wrestling moves, like dropping elbows and shit, and doing backbreakers and stuff. I was like, man, this is so cool. Like, this is like, I know I give CGI a hard time. It's only because I don't want to see so much of it that it's like, am I watching real anything?
Mm-hmm.
This is so great. Like I said at the beginning, where they do that back to back. So it's CGI and then it's live action. But that introductory fight scene is so good, and they give you just a taste so that later you're like, oof, this is going to be good. This is going to be so good. Which leads us into the final fight scene.
It's crazy too in that fight in the church, like, because Blade, he's fighting Nomak and he realizes, like, I don't think I could beat this guy. So then out of desperation, he starts shooting out the windows.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, and that's refreshing because it, like, we're in the middle of the movie and you get the sense that, oof, I don't think I can do this. Whereas you don't get that sense until the end of the first movie when, Deacon Frost is now the blood god. Because at that point he's like, fuck. And he does get lucky because he gets the coagulant or whatever that's called, right?
Yeah.
He does 100% get lucky in that regard. But this one, now there's that initial fight scene, and then the rest of the movie where you go, okay, so how's he going to do it? How's he going to fight, like, beat him, right? And the best part is he actually doesn't.
No.
Nomak does it himself.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you're close.
He does the blow, yep.
And that's cool too, because, like, right up until you find out that Nomak is the son of Eli and that he was the first, like, he's patient zero. So his own dad. It's like, look, I wanted to make a super race of vampires. I don't give a fuck if you're family. So now you're like, oh, well, no kidding. He's got a hard on for this. No wonder he wants to kill his dad. No wonder all of this shit is happening. This makes perfect sense. So it's a little sympathetic, which, again, also refreshing. While with Deacon Frost, I understood his mentality. I couldn't get behind it because it's just like, yeah, but that's horrible, right? Whereas here you're like, I get it. You're not as bad as they make you out to be, right? Until he bites Nisa, and then I'm like, you gotta die, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, you gotta die.
You gotta die. You're a dead man.
I was all like, Nisa and Blade are gonna hook up. This is so great.
Exactly. They're gonna have some weird vampire babies. Good for them.
Good for them. Nope. No luck there. But before we get to that final fight with the whole Nisa and Nomak showing up at the compound and stuff, Blade takes out Reinhardt by literally chopping him in half. That was gross.
That I liked too, because they built that up like it's going to be a big fight scene.
Yeah.
And then he just one-shots him. And then, the tongue.
Oh yeah.
Like, whew.
Yeah, that was
good.
I'm
glad you mentioned that, because I forgot to put that down here. But I
like right up the middle.
And I remember being like, this is gonna be, that's okay, all right. It was like it reminded me of Equilibrium.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you wait the whole movie for this big fight and then over. Okay, so the final fight now, we got Blade. He's trying to find Nisa.
Yep.
He wants to save Nisa. But then, Nomak just storms the compound, and that was so badass. Everything starts going off, and doesn't Nisa go, "That's my brother," or something like that, or?
Yeah.
And he's just freaking taking everyone out.
Because she hadn't seen him up until that point.
Right.
Because he fucks off. Nisa shows up in the church scene. He takes off.
He's gone.
So she doesn't see him. Right. So all she knows is that this guy Nomak is. I don't think Nomak is just the guy that they're trying to hunt down. She doesn't know that's her brother. Then she sees him, and that's when she goes, "Dad, like, what the fuck?" And then he's just like, I wanted to make a super raise. Come on. And she's just like, fuck you. Like, she just owns him right away. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then, of course, bad dad is going to be like, come on, son.
Yeah.
Hey, join me. I mean,
after going, he can't catch up to us. We're okay.
Yeah, we're all fine. And then she's like, hey, everything's cool, right? Right? It's cool.
And he would have got away, but Nisa shut the blinds. She shut the windows. Couldn't get to the house.
I know. I was like, oof.
Yeah.
But that final fight scene was so good.
That final fight was amazing. It's so good.
German suplex in that thing, like Jesus. So good. And I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, I don't know, like, this is a lot. And then the second time and the third time, I was like, you know what? No, this is just fucking great. And I think part of it was because it was so, not so different, but just different enough from the first that I might have been like, yeah, but it's a departure. But now I'm like, no, this is a worthy successor. Like I said, if you would have asked me before this, I would have said, well, the first is here. Then it's the second, and now it's the third. Whereas now I'm like, first and second, it's just right close. Third is the weakest out of all of them. There's no way around it. But it's not as clear, this blowout type of situation.
No.
First two are great. First two are absolutely great.
First two are so good. So good. And I mean, I think the only downfall for the third is it's a little too slapstick at times. And that's pretty much it.
Well, you know what? I will save that for Trinity.
Yeah, we'll touch on it. But I mean, I felt pretty good watching the trilogy all back to back again.
Overall, yes.
Overall.
There's just a couple of things with the Trinity where I'm just like,
okay. Yeah, we'll touch on that in the Trinity.
It doesn't tank the movie by any means, but I can definitely see why the reviews were not so good to that.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah. You got anything else?
Yeah. The final scene of the movie. Where he
actually,
brings Nisa out to see the sunset, and that beautiful
for the first time of her life,
the beautiful music starts playing, and Whistler's
at her request. She wanted to see the sun.
Yeah. And she just, and it's slow-mo, she just slowly starts burning away. He touches her cheeks, like just flakes away. And it's just like, oh, this is so heartbreaking right now. Like, he should be going home with her.
Yeah, he should be. Instead, now he's just like, well,
this is my life. Tragedy after tragedy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, what can I say, really? You know?
What can you
say? But still.
Actually, I shouldn't say that's the final shot of the movie, because then we go back to him going after Rush. At that strip club, he like pulled out all his...
Which is actually the best way to end that movie.
He's laying everything out in front of him, going...
Yeah, he's just like, oh shit.
Yeah, what? I forgot about you. So good. But yeah, no, straight up, this movie made me a Del Toro fan for life. I was so on Mimic when I watched it. I hadn't watched Kronos before.
I've never seen Kronos. I watched Mimic, but I watched Mimic after though.
Yeah. Okay.
This was the one that made me go, okay, Guillermo del Toro is one to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. So like after this, I've watched all this stuff. I love this stuff. It's so good. I mean, it's just this dark gothic nature of all his stuff. I love it. So,
although I haven't watched Crimson Peak. I gotta watch Crimson Peak.
Oh, great movie.
Shape of Water. Oh
man, that is a masterpiece. And then that bad boy wins Best Picture at the Oscars. Oh. I was so fun. I cheered out loud when I saw him win Best Picture. I was so,
especially because that movie's fucked up. It's a fucked up premise.
Oh yeah, it's definitely fucked up. I mean,
it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome, but it's
bestiality. Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty close. We're pretty close to some weird, like, interspecies. I think it's interspecies is what they'll call it. But in any event, we'll say that for a Camcast.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, no, that's Blade 2. Love it.
Blade 2, ladies and gentlemen.
My personal favorite of the series.
Yep. Not mine.
Not yours.
But it's like I said, it's so close.
That's fine. It's a lot closer than it used to be, because I know you were always like way pro Blade 1.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, no, it's so good. It's just so good.
So good. Exactly. It's just so good.
Yeah. No, that's just it. That's all I got. Hey, Ken.
Yo, what's up?
Give us the list.
Give us the list.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Camcast, you can catch us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's our social media. You can listen to our podcast at SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. If you want to just see our handsome faces talk about shit, right here, YouTube, it's the place to be. Or you can read our stuff at geekpantsmedia.com. Well, me and Chris Fedek anyways. It's okay.
Hey, man. I zinged that Chris Mercier about it in the last episode, so fuck that guy. You can zing him too.
He did. And still, since the last episode, he hasn't written anything.
Not at all. He hasn't even come up with a concept.
He hasn't moved away from that.
He literally came up with 2 or 3 concepts today, but that's it.
Today? Oh, wow. Okay, cool. It's coming. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. It's coming.
And as always, if you like what we're doing, let us know in the comments. If you don't like what we're doing, let us know in the comments. You could like, you could share, do those things if you want. But more importantly, let us know what you want us to do for our 100th Camcast episode, mainly because we're currently sitting on the Back to the Future trilogy, which I'm fine with, but who knows? Maybe somebody wants us to do something else. I'm game for anime. I'm game for Japanese movies. I'm game for pretty much anything that covers under the Geek Pants.
I'm game for it all. I mean, if you don't even want us to talk about movies, if you want us to do a video game episode or comic book episode or something, let us know.
That's right. Yeah, let us know. Let us know. Hell, you could even make the 100th episode what my 3 topics of possible articles I'm going to write on the fucking geekpantsmedia.com. Who knows? But in any event, I'm Chris Mercier. That's Kenneth Levitsky. We are the Geek Pants Camcast, and thanks again, guys.